5 young people, 1 planned murder, 4 life sentences. And every single piece of evidence that put them away, they created themselves. This is not just a crime story. This is what pride, arrogance, and the absence of God looks like when it plays out in real time. And I need every parent and every young person watching this to pay very close attention. Every parent believes they know their child. Every young person believes their crew is loyal and those choices are their own. The Julio Fulio murder case proves that when pride and godlessness take root in a person's life, they lose the very reasoning they need to survive. And by the end of this video, you will have the facts, the footage details, and the spiritual truth behind how these young people walked into a courtroom, handed a judge the rest of their lives, and what every parent and every young person can take from it before it's too late. Because you can give a child a good home, a good car, and every material thing they need, and still send them straight into a prison cell. Things are not the same as God, and this case proves it in real time. On June 23rd of 2024, 5 people drove from Jacksonville to Tampa to carry out a calculated, planned murder of rapper Charles Jones, known as Julio Fulio, on his 26th birthday.
Got me drinking, cuz. I don't even drink, cuz. Appreciate everybody popping out for my birthday, you know what I'm saying?
Happy birthday!
Everybody got their song, put their song in the air, man. Okay, David. Everybody take this shit on 3, man. 1, 2, 3. Got my brother with me. He done popped out for me for my birthday. He done time. It's lit. Oh, God, yeah. We came deep and fuck for my birthday, man. Everybody coming up to spell. On the couch, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We deep as hell. We deep as hell. 20 deep. Lit everywhere we go.
In the early morning hours of Sunday, June 23rd, Jacksonville rapper Charles Jones arrived at Teaser's Gentlemen's Club in Tampa for a paid performance.
He's the gentleman wearing the red beanie hat.
That's Tampa Police Homicide Detective Juan Ramos identifying the rapper, known as Julio Fulio, in new surveillance video from the club's parking lot. Suspects Alicia Andrews, Isaiah Chance, and Sean Gathright watched this video in court Thursday, too. All 3 face charges in Jones's death in what investigators say was an ongoing rival gang war. After leaving Teasers, the rapper went down the street to Truth 18 nightclub for an after party, posting on social media in live time.
This is the video here from his Instagram.
Surveillance video from outside that club shows how 2 suspect vehicles continued to follow Jones, just as they did at Teasers, and eventually to the Home 2 suites near USF.
They're approaching the victim's position on foot.
Video from the hotel and a parked Tesla show 3 shooters firing several shots at the vehicle Jones was riding in, killing him. With video playing such a big role in this case, Gathwright's attorney pushed back.
Once again, there is no actual video or identifiable footage that shows that Mr. Gathwright was physically present at Home 2 Suites. Is that correct?
Correct.
The state presented a picture from Gathwright's cell phone taken one day after the murder, showing a bottle of Don Julio. The detective testified that, based on gang knowledge, this represents an insult to the rapper Julio Fulio. Here's Gathwright's attorney.
Were you able to ascertain if my client, Mr. Gathwright, was the one that actually purchased Don Julio?
No.
So anybody could have been at that club and purchased it?
Yes, of course.
In Tampa, Ariel Placencia, Fox 13 News.
They thought they had planned it carefully. What they actually did was handed investigators the case on a silver platter. Sean Gathwright, 18 years old, used his mother's car to transport the murder weapons without covering the license plate.
Now, this is a Vivint or Vivint camera mounted at the residence of Sean Gathright. This is June 22nd, Saturday, in the middle of the day. This is the beginning of that day for these conspirators. You're going to see Mr. Gathright and Mr. Chance loading a Chevy Impala that is being driven by Mr. Gathright, Sean Gathright. It is registered to his mother, but it is the car that he drives and operates. And it is the car that transports the shooters, the assault team of which he is part of in this case. You're going to see them loading it with book bags, but you're also going to see them loading it with rolling duffel bags, long bags that appear to have weight to them. That's Mr. Gathright, Mr. Chance. You will see in the evidence that they are friends. That is the Impala, the black car.
Yeah.
We're talking about how they're going to load the heaviest bags into the trunk first. The BMW on the top part of the screen belongs to Mr. Chance. He would later go and retrieve his girlfriend, Miss Andrews, and bring her back to this residence. And that's in Jacksonville. Now, at some point that afternoon before they leave, Mr. Chance brings his contribution to the assault team. And this is going to be in slow-mo, but you're going to see a Glock handgun with an extended magazine. You see his finger resting down the side of the slide. He tucks the gun into his waistband as he walks back into Mr. Gathlight's residence. Notably, he knows the combination of Mr. Gathlight's residence. And you can see the extended magazine coming out from the bottom of his hand. You can see the trigger guard below his hand and his finger extended down the slide of that pistol. Mr. Chance on the left, Sean Gathright in the middle, and Miss Andrews on the right. They end up leaving that residence, Mr. Gathright driving the black Impala.
A neighbor's security camera caught the whole thing. The car turned up days later at a family member's house. Damage matched the crime scene footage exactly. Rashad Murphy booked the getaway Airbnb in his own name, paid with his own credit card, and left behind a burner phone with a text that read, "My thirst is quenched. Pop a bottle on Don Julio today." Isaiah Chance went on public Twitter space hours before the murder, speaking in code about what was coming, convinced he was clever.
Fourth suspect, Rashad Murphy's beef with Fulio. When it comes to the question of the motive behind the attack, there hasn't been a lot of answers. Many focus on Sean Gathright and wonder why a teenager would try to kill Fulio twice. But for a moment, I want y'all to shift y'all focus to the bad blood between Fulio and Rashad Murphy. Why the motive behind killing Fulio might be retaliation. In 2018, Joe Rod Adams, also known as 1200 Spaz, a promising young talent in the local rap scene, was brutally murdered by Robert Howard, aka Kenny Caps, the right-hand man of rapper Fulio. The night of the murder was chaotic and brutal. 1200 Spaz was ambushed and shot multiple times by Kenny Caps. The motive behind the killing was most likely rooted in the ongoing beef between rival rap crews, a feud that had already claimed several lives. Who is Joe Rod Adams, and how is he connected to Rashad? Joe Rod is reportedly the younger of Rashad Murphy, so what I'm guessing now is that Rashad Murphy couldn't stand by as his brother's memory was desecrated. Fueled by pain and anger, he embarked on a mission to avenge his brother's death. I understand if you ask the question, why not attack the killer instead of Fulio? Well, if you know anything about Fulio, it's that his whole brand is built on dissing dead ops. This case was not any different. Fulio has dissed 1,200 Spaz in his songs. In List of Dead Ops, Fulio raps Amp and Big Bando died together, I'm smoking Spaz forever. There's also talk that Fulio's associates pissed on 1,200 Spaz grave. While it's true that someone pissed and spat on the grave, there ain't really a way to confirm that this had much to do with Fulio. But also knowing his history, nothing is really out of reach. All of this, coupled with some other actions, paints a picture of retribution by Rashad.
The feds were listening. And Davon Murphy, left alone in an interrogation room doing a break in questioning, thought the cameras had stopped rolling.
Mr. Murphy is the biggest, heaviest one of these defendants, just like the shooter who takes the rearward position in this attack. That's Mr. Murphy. When he was arrested, you will see tattoos. You see many on his neck and chest. He has a 1200 tattoo on the back of his neck. He has the name of people from 1200 who have been murdered tattooed on his body. And in this video, you will clearly see in the evidence Mr. Davion Murphy taking full credit for his role in this shooting. That is just after his arrest, when he is left alone in an interview room. Just to show, because it was a video, I wanted you to see a couple of still shots of Mr. Davion Murphy in action. You can see the muzzle flash, you can see the orange or reddish ski mask, and you can see his position, shooting directly at the charger, shooting again at the charger, and a last time. And there's Mr. Gathright on the bottom, following Mr. Edwards and the charger and Mr. Jones.
So he stood up and acted out the shooting, arms extended, walking the room, doing it again and again. A detective had to stand in open court and demonstrate his movements for the judge. This was not one bad decision in the heat of the moment, family. Gathright had already attempted to kill Fulio in October of 2023. The same shell casings from that gun were found in his vehicle a year later. This was a pattern, a lifestyle, documented entirely by their own hands. When God removes wisdom from a person, what is inside them spills out, even in an interrogation room with cameras rolling. Proverbs 16:18 says, pride goes before destruction. Hear me, people. Pride goes before destruction. And most times it's self-destruction. And a haughty spirit before fall. You see somebody with a haughty spirit? Just keep watching. You're going to see them fall. Think about what it takes to sit in an interrogation room facing a potential death sentence and still feel so untouchable that you stand up and act out the crime you are being questioned about. Woo! That is not nervousness. That is a person who has lived so long in arrogance that they cannot recognize danger when they are sitting inside of it. Pride does not just make a person arrogant. It makes that person blind. It removes the protective reasoning that God places in people who walk in righteousness and the fear of him. I'm going to say that again. It needs to be said. Hear me clearly. Pride does not make a person arrogant. It makes a person blind. It removes the protective reasoning that God places in people who walk in righteousness and fear of him. Now, some opposing views may say these were young men who grew up hard. And it is true that Fulio's own father was murdered when he was 13 years old, and that street life surrounded him from childhood. But hardship does not remove personal responsibility. no matter what. After a while, you got to step away. I've seen too many people come from the worst lifestyles and have the best lives because they made the right choices. So I'm done hearing the excuses that they've been traumatized, that they had bad beginnings, that things were done to them. They still have choices. They have personal responsibility. There are young men who grew up in those same Jacksonville neighborhoods, lost people they loved, and still chose not to pick up a weapon. The difference is not circumstances. The difference is what and who was in their heart. Every camera, every text, every courtroom moment in this case is the evidence of that truth. Gathright came from a decent home. He was not without resources, and yet his mother's car carried the murder weapons and his family's property hid the getaway vehicle. That is not coincidence. That is a gap, and no material provisions can fill it. Every parent watching this needs to hear this. You can put your child in the best schools, give them every opportunity you never had. And if you do not pour God into them, if you do not show them what righteousness looks like from inside your own life, you have given them things, but not a foundation. I know a woman who lived in the drug life herself, but presented herself as one of the best mothers. That life showed up in her children. It always does. What is really lived inside a home, not just performed, is what transfers to the next generation. Parenting is not about control. It is about deposit. What are you depositing in your children? What did you put in them before they walked out that door, walked onto the path of life? Because when the moment came for these young men, there was nothing there to stop them. The most important thing you can deposit into your young people is the knowledge of God. That is the one thing that governs them when you are not in the room and when you are no longer here to protect them. Now, I want to say something, and I'm not backing away from it. There is a reason that the correctional system designed for our young Black people, and they keep putting themselves in those situations, chose a life sentence over death for these young men. It was not mercy, family. Someone said it out loud that the current prison population is aging and they need new bodies, new labor, new sweat equity. And these young people walk right into it.
Perhaps you've seen this moment from the sentencing phase in the Julio Fulio murder trial.
But as former warden and even as a jail administrator, he's someone that's young, he's healthy. In reality, we need that labor, we need that sweat equity, and we will put him out there to work because we do have an aging prison population, jail administration.
Former Florida prison warden Raul Benasco explaining why it would be more beneficial to sentence Sean Gathright to life without parole instead of death.
Do inmates sentenced to death contribute to the prison workforce in any way?
No.
That one moment has since gone viral, shocking people around the nation, including Ian Manuel.
What went through your mind when you watched that clip and heard him say that?
He said the quiet part out loud. The 13th Amendment in the United States Constitution allows slavery for incarcerated people.
This topic is deeply personal for him. He was sentenced to life just 2 weeks after his 14th birthday. His youth was spent working without pay inside a prison, 60 hours a week.
And I have vivid memories working behind the kitchen as a 14-year-old, rolling tubs of slop and dumping it with 4 or 5 people, these big containers of slop, or they had me mowing the grass. And I got so mad at mowing this grass that I started running with the lawnmower because it's like football fields of grass that you had to cut. And I wanted to be in school getting my education.
Manuel says aside from wanting an education, he wanted to be rehabilitated. But when he went before a judge to overturn his sentence 26 years later, at age 39, this is what he says he was told.
Judge William Fuente looked at me and told the court that, you know, there was a statement made about Mr. Manuel being rehabilitated. However, in 1990, the legislative intent was to punish, not rehabilitate.
Bonasco's testimony also hinted a little at the other roles someone like Gathright would have in prison.
The fact that he does have a high school diploma, that is one of the requirements to be an inmate student aide, because they're helping other individual prisoners obtain some kind of education programming.
Manuel believes the attention on that comment could open the door to change.
That former warden said the quiet part out loud. They want sweat equity, but the citizens of society want to live in peace without having to worry about being harmed. And if you don't rehabilitate the guys that are in prison, they're going to suffer the same consequences.
And those 4 men have one more date in front of a judge. That is June 22nd at 1:30 for sentencing. That may sound confusing, but this is just procedural so that they can get sentenced for those non-murder charges. But one thing that we do know is that they will spend the rest of their lives in prison.
I want to be careful with the word slavery, because our ancestors were taken, they were ripped from their homeland against their will. That was not their choice. But these young people have exploited themselves. They put themselves on that road. They are becoming new slaves, not by force, but by decision. And Gathright, sitting in a cell somewhere, still thinking this made him famous, still not grasping what he has done to himself. That's not confidence, that is delusion. That is what pride looks like when it has fully consumed a person. I stand on the Old Testament principle, an eye for an eye, a life for a life. We have moved so far from the standard that people committing these crimes believe they can walk back out with a good lawyer, an intimidated witness, or manipulated jury. But I'm telling you prophetically, which I don't do often, I'm speaking this word. Those days have ended. So make sure your young people are staying on the right path. You want a sign that God's time is winding up? Watch what's happening. God is not going to allow this earth to remain in this condition. He is removing them one by one, because this earth has to be righteous and holy, and those who fill it with violence and pride are being plucked off by their own hand. These young men think they are big dogs. They do not realize who the real authority is. They are pawns, and the only real choice any of us have, the only one that has ever mattered, is what side you are going to be on. If you're a young person watching this, you are not fighting your community. You are not fighting law enforcement. You are going up against God, and God will have the final say. Don't be among that number. Choose right. Choose you this day who you will serve. Because if you are not on his side, this is your future, this is your legacy, and this will be your destiny. If this video spoke to you, like it, share it with someone that truly needs to hear it, and leave a thoughtful comment below. I'm Deborah, and this is Family Still Matters. And because family still matters, when we understand that God has a purpose for every life, we fight differently for the ones who are still within reach. Thank you, and may God continue to richly bless you.